This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Granger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Weight loss solutions are not one size fits all. Hers makes it simpler to get started and stick with a weight loss plan, backed by expert-guided online care that puts your weight loss goals first. These include oral medication kits or compounded GLP-1 injections. Through Hers, pricing for oral medication kits start at just $69 a month for a 10-month plan when paid in full upfront. No hidden fees, no membership fees. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hers brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. Reach your weight loss goals with help through Hers. Get started at forhers.com/4u to access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss plans. That's forhers.com/4u, forhers.com/4u. Paid for by Hims and Hers Health. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at forhers.com apply.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and I, we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production Podcast Network. We hope to see you online.
Welcome to Rankin on Bass, an offhand joke that became a rather long-winded podcast. I'm your host, Mike White. Joining me is a swindler who is not welcome in any Danish burg, Mr. Chris Dashew.
I prefer to be referred to as known asshole actor, known asshole podcaster, Chris Dashew. That's how I know you.
Well, also along with us is a podcaster who just likes to go naked, Mr. Richard Haddam.
Great tropical worsted.
On this podcast, we discuss the works of Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass, specifically some of their stop motion and animated work. But man, oh man, this movie has it all. We've got stop motion or animagic. We've got animation. We've got live action. Of course, we're talking about the one and only, The Enchanted World of Danny Kaye, The Emperor's New Clothes from 1972. With that title, I thought there would have been a whole series of shows called The Enchanted World of Danny Kaye, where he would do a new special and talk about things. But this is a one-off. Played once, February 21st, 1972, about 2 months before I was fucking born. And that's it. Just a 1 hour thing. Not even brought to us by Westinghouse or GE, as far as I know.
Funny you should say that, Mike. Funny you should say that, because that was the plan. It was going to be exactly that. Every week, Danny Kaye in your living room presenting another child-friendly tale where he would be talking to a bunch of kids, as he does in this one. And then it would segue from Danny Kaye in person and all the kids in person to the animagic. And that was the plan. And actually, why that never happened, I don't know. They did this one. There's an implication in the book that we all have, The Enchanted World of Rankin and Bass, which implies that there was a fast friendship between Danny Kaye and Rankin and Bass that then kind of soured maybe in a weird way. And then it just never happened. But I don't know if that's the case. Anyway, we have this one. We should be thankful.
They realized that they were going to have to continue to work with Danny Kaye. I mean, again, the known asshole thing is my joke at his expense because he was not necessarily known as a person who was easy to work with. We talked about that a little bit in our Twilight Zone 1985 episode, Dreams for Sale, where we talked about this exact thing. And so we'll mention it here again. Danny Kaye, Bing Crosby, both not necessarily known as guys that were either A, good to work with or good towards their family in Bing Crosby's case. So, but again, their outward appearance is Mr. Jovial, top hat wearing yo-yo, talking to kids. And it's like, oh boy, he probably did not want to be there. This. He was like, I don't want to fucking talk to kids anymore. It's like, but you want to, nope, I just won and done. We're good. It's like, okay.
Oh. Well, I hate to break everyone's heart out there in the listening audience. Sometimes actors are charming on screen, but not so much off screen. Danny Kaye, one of the most hated men in Hollywood, in terms of other actors, for sure. I'm sure if there were directors or producers who thought they could make a dime off of him. And by the way, he was famous. I mean, he had a follling. This guy was a legit celebrity. This guy was a get for Rankin and Bass, but people didn't like him. People, really almost second only to Rex Harrison, who no one has ever had a good word about. Danny Kaye, not well liked, but again, popular, did movies that did well, was a beloved and welcome presence on your television screen. So this made perfect sense. This could have, if it had gone, could have really done a lot for Rankin and Bass. This could have been I don't know what it would have been, a monthly special they would do. And I got to tell you, this one, they spared no expense. This one looks good. This is a good production.
It does to an extent. The animagic seems a little rough because I went back and I rewatched parts of The Daydreamer from 1966, which was all about Hans Christian Andersen. And it was interesting, this confluence of events, because we've got Rankin and Bass looking at Hans Christian Andersen in 66, and then freaking Danny Kaye himself playing Hans Christian Andersen in the movie Hans Christian Andersen from 1952, which I tried to watch and I couldn't make my way through it. It was just a little much. The singing was a lot and it got to me very quickly. I just had a hard time with it. But you mentioned how there was a fast friendship with Kaye and Rankin and Bass. And lest we forget, we did a whole special all about Easter movies. And he was in Here Comes Peter Cottontail.
Right.
The year previous to this, so playing 3 characters. And in this, I would say he plays 2 characters. He's only credited as one on IMDb, but really I think he's playing himself and he's playing this Marmaduke character as well, who is not a Great Dane.
Yeah. He goes, it appears that he did the Peter Cottontail one. That went really well. Everyone fell in love. They did this one and then everyone fell out of love. And by the way, this is a very common Hollywood thing, and it has to do with a word, narcissist. In Hollywood, the narcissist is the charming, amazing person you have a meeting with or you work with, and they give you that feeling like, oh my God, I think I just found my new best friend. Like, this person is amazing, and this happens all the time. And if it's a celebrity, you just feel just covered in this golden glow of, this guy is famous and yet I feel a connection. I think he really likes me. And then they're your new boyfriend and we're going to make 55 movies together and everything's going to be great. And then the other side comes out.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And that's when it gets super ugly.
It almost sounds like you're speaking about that from experience, Richard.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
Marmaduke is not a Great Dane, either character or in the portrayal of his character. I think that's the joke, right?
A Great Dane.
Yes, that's right, Chris. That is the joke.
Right.
Yeah. That's good.
It's like Heathcliff is a character in the Emily Bronte novel, and also a cat.
I mean, and we all know Heathcliff is the superior cat to Garfield because Garfield didn't fish bones and Heath.
Yeah.
But
well, Garfield ripped off Heathcliff.
Right.
End of statement.
But this feels like a lesser Animagic because the story is not engaging. Unfortunately, it's not engaging. And it's also, we haven't talked about it, it's pretty racist just right at the beginning.
But before we even get there, what is that? You haven't heard of Hans Christian Andersen?
Come sit around the fire, my friends, and let me tell you a tale. Like, the framing device is getting a little old, guys.
Romeo Muller. I mean, God bless him. I love the man. I think he does a great job, but Jesus, what? You haven't heard? Well, gather around.
I just recently talked about Like Water for Chocolate, and that movie has a similar opening to Rankin on Bass. Hello there. I bet you're wondering who I am. Let me tell you a story about my family. And it's like, wait a second. I've seen this before. It was fucking a cottontail. A rabbit was doing this at one point. It's like, how fucking trite can you get at this point?
So wait, Like Water for Chocolate was a Rankin on Bass? That's amazing. It was stop motion? I thought it was live action. Okay.
Right. It uses that same really tired framing device. And Rankin on Bass has used it so many times now that we keep making a joke about it because it just doesn't really work.
It really was the best way. Like the minute I started watching this, I was just like, oh, here we go. All right. I'm in.
You haven't heard of this person before?
Yeah. Insert name here.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to work at a cable company, and there's one lady I worked with who, when she would write a commercial, she would always start a commercial the exact same way. Where do you go for all your blank, 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 and blank? Well, come on out to so-and-so. And it was just like every single time. So I think she would have been real comfortable with this. Oh, you haven't heard of Larry's Spectacular Bass Shop? Well, let me tell you all about it.
Wait, was the word needs involved? Where do you go for all your liquor needs? Well,
and accoutrement. No accoutrement.
No.
She was not the person who said, this store has everything from the novice to the beginner. That made it to air. That made it to air.
This person is my hero.
Oh, yeah.
For me, the person that's my hero is the person who managed to convince Danny Kaye to wear the outfit that his Animagic character is wearing in the special as a human being. Because,
oh boy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, but I'm glad you said that because conversely, I would give anything for the suit he's wearing.
Oh boy.
The brown coat and the what is that? It's like a brown coat and gray slacks and a slate colored shirt and a purple tie. I don't know. I was like, that's awesome. I want that outfit.
I think though, as much kind of, I don't know, as much fun as I did have with kind of having fun at this thing's expense, I mean, again, it's a Hans Christian Andersen story that everybody knows. So it's like, I don't know if they do enough to really like convince me that this was a story that they couldn't have gone to something else. Like, I guess I understand why they did it because it is something that everybody knows, but it's not in any way, shape, or form a dramatic transformation of the pre-existing narrative. Let me put it that way.
Right. And they so clearly had to add in a princess and boy. Jasper and all this other stuff. And then when I thought about them doing this, it's like, well, is this going to be a weekly show or am I? Suddenly it became clear, why not just do it half hour? A half hour version of this would have been awesome.
Yeah. Well, before we move on too much further, Chris, I interrupted you before when we were talking about the wonderful representation of all of the countries around the world, or at least different areas. And especially I'll let you take it from here.
Oh, yeah. So it's essentially the setup, obviously, if you've read or heard The Emperor's New Clothes, is the Emperor is looking for new clothes and he brings in tailors and fashion makers from all around the world. And because, of course, this is the 70s, we have, they mentioned, quote, the Oriental and, quote, the Africans. And it's just of a time and of a place, this was acceptable, but now it's just like, but I don't need this. But again, like you end up just laughing at it because it's so fucking tone deaf. You're beyond tone deaf. So, but it's just the casual kind of racism one expects from 70s TV show from time to time.
Okay, to quote, the Arabs are erratic, the Africans pragmatic,
correct,
the Asians Asiatic.
Yes. Yes.
You can't argue.
You have a problem with that?
Yeah, right. I failed to see the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, there haven't been a lot of the Rankin and Bass specials that have any of these kinds of things, because most of the time it's set in a world where we don't worry about the real world, quote unquote. And Rudolph, they're not like, and what are the Huns up to right now? It's like, nobody checks in with them. So it was a little weird, because it's like, this is a fantasy world. You don't have to ground this in any sort of fucking reality. Like, you don't even have to make the character look like Danny Kaye. Like, I want to mention the character of Danny Kaye as an animagic character stands out in a bad way, because he looks like a human being, and everyone else is very exaggerated looking. Yes. And then it's just Danny Kaye. And it's like, Uncanny Valley, maybe not, but off-putting puppet, yes.
Yeah. They did a lot to make that puppet look like Danny Kaye. That was the whole idea, because clearly it was going to be used again. And Danny Kaye talked about how they would ask him to make different movements, walk, jump, sit, stand, anything the character would do, they wanted him to do so they could sketch it. Basically, this was their version of motion capture, but 60 years ago. And they wanted the character to even feel a little bit like it was Danny Kaye. So that's why they did that character that way. It's funny. You were talking about the little beginning part where they're showing characters from all over the world, and you see the Asian and the African and the various other kinds of people represented through animagic. And I was like, well, what was that one special where suddenly there was a black family? And I remembered it was 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Remember where suddenly it's like, oh, wait a second. Rankin and Bass are suddenly bringing in characters of other ethnicities. Like they're acknowledging that there is something other than white people in the world. And I remember how blown away we were. And then this is a little bit like that, except none of those characters survive into the actual body of the story.
Well, and it's like they reused because I was afraid when they showed the African stuff, because they showed a monkey riding a giraffe or something like that. And I was like,
totally fine.
But I was like, that's not an African, right? That's a monkey, right? We are not making any sort of thing. And luckily, no, that's Mike, a monkey. That's okay, a monkey. It's okay. But then we get the monkey, like there's a random monkey, and what is the other animal that shows up later on? Like they have pets, and there's
like a cat, I think.
Yeah, the monkey and a cat or something. I'm just like, okay, just a little comic relief, I guess, but they don't really do anything in this movie at all.
Well, the same thing in Anna. Remember?
Oh yeah, Anna and the King,
Anna
or whatever.
The King and I.
Do we have to remember the King and I?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Speaking of racism, everybody.
Never forget.
Oh boy, yeah.
The woke mob is gonna come after us for talking about that one. Jesus.
Oh Christ. Yeah. Just use some woke ketchup on my hamburger here. So
no, but see, if you're going to do Africa, then Africa is like an entire continent that is like a giant zoo with every animal you can imagine. So a monkey riding a giraffe is totally fine.
Yeah. I just want to put this out here because I've now watched several versions of The Emperor's New Clothes. There's this whole thing of why you can and can't see the material, right? Which is in this one, I think it's pretty much all the way through. You're stupid and you're unfit to rule people. And if you're stupid and you're unfit to rule people, you can't see the cloth. So when the guy goes out and he's traipsing around and nobody can see the cloth, isn't that a good thing? Wouldn't he be like, oh, ha, 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 that person can't see the cloth because they're stupid and unfit for office.
Well, technically.
I mean, because I've always known, it was the whole thing out of the mouths of babe. Somebody says the truth that nobody else will admit. But I'm like, it feels like there's a flaw in the logic of this.
Well, it feels like it's trying to make a point, and it's like, to what point? Like, and I feel like, bear with me here, that the rose-tinted glasses song may, in fact, have something to do with the point of this, because, as someone living in the year of our Lord 2023, let's just say at a time where things are wild, to hear a song all about how I have no interest in being tuned into the world or giving a shit about anybody but myself. Boy, that it's like you couldn't even redeem the character if you wanted. And and like you mentioned, I mean, the weird, like, it's a stupidity thing is then factored into the reason you can and can't see the clothes. It's like, what is the message of this? At the end, he's like, oh, I learned the error of my ways. It's like, but why? How? Through what way did you learn? Like, because a child said something? It only works if it's just the fact that people are scared of him because he's a king. If it's anything else, it's like it kind of doesn't work.
Well, he's not. It's weird. He's not the evil character. Jasper's the evil character, right? So the king is just a little diluted,
right? Yeah, this whole addition of Jasper is very interesting because you talked about the addition of the princess. She's necessary because of Jasper, I think.
Yeah, they sort of had to fill things out, and they needed a bad guy that wasn't the Taylors, because it's like, well, the Taylors who pull off this gag in the story are kind of the bad guys. But if Danny Kaye is going to do it, we want him to be a trickster and a rogue, but ultimately lovable. So now we have to, as they did in The King and I, we have to add in a new antagonist, a new character for us to despise, which is Jasper, the sort of Iago whispering in the king's ear and secretly running everything. The king himself is just sort of, again, befuddled. He's just sort of, he's not actively evil. So the fact that he gets tricked is like, oh, okay. And then you almost get the feeling that the people in the town or the region that he's king, they don't hate him, and they kind of know that he's a little bit nutty. And so when they see him, they're like, okay, well, the thing to do is we'll all agree with him. Yes, of course you're right, which is another insight into human beings and how they act around powerful, rich white men. You're a genius. Oh my God. Yes. Build a rocket, go somewhere, buy Twitter. You'll be great. And we all applaud them because we're afraid not to.
Yeah, that would be a whole different thing, because they tried to get there, and we'll talk a little bit about, or I will anyway, talk about fairy tale theater. They try to get there a little bit with this guy wastes all of our money on clothes, but at no point is that emperor mean and threatening as an emperor can and probably, always was, as opposed to this where, yeah, he's kind of a dolt, and you're like, you feel bad for the guy a little bit. You don't feel like he would put you to death if you said the wrong thing. And you kind of need a real insane megalomaniac to be that person.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they shifted all the weight of the story so that technically what you're supposed to be concerned with is Marmaduke's eventual defeat of Jasper through cunning and marriage to the princess. Those are the two things you want to see happen. So we're a little less interested in what happens to the king. We know he's going to play a part in the story, but we're not too wrapped up in like, we hate that king, we want to see him fail, or, oh no, we're afraid he's going to be embarrassed. We're being asked by Romeo Muller to put all of our audience interest in what's going to happen for Marmaduke. Will he get the money? Will he get the girl?
Apparently, in the original Hans Christian Andersen story, he gets called out. A child blurts out that the emperor's wearing nothing at all. The people realize they've been fooled. Everyone's been fooled. And the emperor, though, continues procession. He walks more proudly than ever. And you're like, okay, like every version I've ever seen, he runs away, suddenly realizing that he's naked.
Yeah.
But if he's a likable character, that's the character arc is he's, he doesn't care what anybody else thinks. It's like, I guess I get that. Right. But that's not the point of this, though. Like that ends like they're kind of making a point that they really weren't driving.
Well, in this version, also keep in mind the Emperor is an exhibitionist and gets a sexual thrill out of it.
He also
is that.
He hits the ether and he's like, "Mommy," and then he walks naked. Yeah. I would watch that version of the Emperor clothes.
Baby wants to fuck.
Well, it is. Look, okay. A couple things. In other versions that I've seen, animated versions, the king is wearing underclothes.
Right.
So he's just walking around in his underwear. The fact that they went full nude animagic, I was stunned. Actually, I'm like, wait, okay. So now they've got to like compose every shot. It's like.
That Austin Powers thing.
Austin Powers. People walking by with, potted plants. And then after he's revealed by the child, he makes no effort. He remains nude for the rest of the film. He's sort of like, well, all right, I guess I'm kind of into it and no one really minds. So that guy, I swear to God, must have a 10-inch schlong. He's just like, you know what? Now you know.
I mean, haven't you seen the size of the noses of the characters in Rankin and Bass to begin with in these animagic specials? They already have a phallic thing molded already. I mean,
yeah. Maybe the king's like, finally,
right?
My clothes.
I am free.
Yeah. Oh, you see my clothes? Oh, me too. Right. Ultimately, this is a story about a pervert who likes to, show everybody his wiener. That's what the Emperor's New. If you made it in 2023 for the TikTok crowd, that's what it would be.
As you said, Chris, ultimately, this is about a pervert, Danny Kaye.
Well, it is interesting that Kaye, Kaye only was in like 33 things, TV and movies, including a segment of The Twilight Zone, which we talked about on our wonderful Twilight Zone film. After this, he would be in Peter Pan in 76, Pinocchio in 76. He'd make a TV movie called Skokie, all about fucking Illinois Nazis. He'd be in that Twilight Zone, and then he was in one episode of The Cosby Show, and that's it. Like from 1972 on, he was in 5 things.
Yeah. I thought he died way earlier than that. So he was alive into the 80s to do a Cosby Show?
Mm-hmm. He died in 87. Cosby was
birds of a feather.
Wow.
Ding, zang, zoom.
The other thing I wanted to point out real quick was that the guy who plays the Emperor he was voiced by Cyril Ritchard, Ritchard, who I mostly know him from. He was the artist who I believe gets killed in Alfred Hitchcock's Blackmail, one of the first like quasi-talkie, like shot originally silent, and then they went back and reshot parts of it and added sound. And so I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me that he was doing that. But then after this, he went ahead and just did a ton of, actually he was also in The Daydreamer. He did some voice work. He did a lot of voice work. And he also was in another, Rankin and Bass production. He was the voice of Elrond in The Hobbit. So he was pretty darn busy, this guy. 49 things in his career. Take that, Danny Kaye.
Yeah, but no one knows him as an unforgivable prick.
And I'm trying to remember, we have talked about Imogen Coca on this. We've talked about her before. I don't know if we've talked about her on this show.
Yeah, she was in another Rankin.
Right? I just did the same thing.
Jesus Christ.
Rankin and Bass. Yeah.
Okay. She was in the Mad Monster Party, I think.
That's right.
It was right after this.
Same year. Yeah. Yeah. It was, this was a big year for these guys.
Yeah.
1972 is huge. But it was interesting because Imogen Coca, and I know we talked about her before, Chris, on Night Gallery.
Yeah, it was just recently, too.
Yeah, and it was pretty much only her voice, which was interesting. But I love Imogen Coca. She was a very unusual looking lady. So to have her puppet look so ravishing. I was just like, wow, okay. The other thing I noticed a lot, guys, was looking at the crowd in the city of what's the name of this thing, like Hottentot or something.
Bibbentucker.
Yeah,
Bibbentucker, otherwise known as that's a company that you can go take your shirts to get them pressed and dry cleaned.
Oh,
which
okay.
now I understand where the fuck the name for that company comes from. Has to do with this thing, this Emperor's New Clothes. Cool.
I thought it was a concentration camp.
That's Bergen-Belsen. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
But there are so many red-headed women in Bibbentucker. Did you guys pick up on this? It's like they had all of the different models from like Santa Claus is Coming to Town or whatever, and just like stuck those heads on these bodies, or just were that woman from Santa Claus is Coming to Town, just populating the city, because they all had like slightly different expressions on their face. I'm like, is this the cheap way of doing crowd scenes for Rankin and Bass? They just take the same dummies and use them over and over again. It's great.
The answer is yes. Yeah, no, I didn't notice that, but I did think about the point you just mentioned about Imogene Coca, who is a fabulous actress and comedian, not known for her beauty, and the fact that they sort of used her personality. It's like, well, let's get someone. The character itself will sort of be a traditional princess, but her personality will be a little quirkier, which I really appreciated, because I think if they had just made her oh, I am the princess, it would not have been as entertaining. So the degree to which they decided, well, let's make the princess as a character, she'll still be beautiful in a traditional sense, but she'll have a more offbeat personality. We'll have Imogene Coca voice it, and that'll be a better match for Danny Kaye anyway. And I think it was.
I agree. I actually don't dislike the female character in this, which is shocking, because for the most part, they're very underrepresented in most of these animagic things. Like, most of these things honestly underrepresent anybody but the main character as it is. So it's kind of surprising. I guess it does speak also more to the idea that Danny Kaye is just kind of playing himself. So there needed to be somebody else that you could kind of latch onto as an audience that is more charismatic and interesting than he is just playing himself.
I think the three most important characters in all of these tend to be the protagonist, the antagonist, and the funny sidekick. Those are the top three. The fourth might be a kind of love interest.
Well, his partner in this is not that interesting, though, to me.
Well, he can't be, because he can't outshine Danny Kaye.
Right.
So he can be the funny sidekick who doesn't get any of the jokes, because those will have to go to Danny.
Right. True. Though I like the guy's voice. I like Alan Swift's voice as Mufti quite a bit.
Yeah.
And again, very, very prolific voice actor. I mostly know him as Simon Bar Sinister from Underdog.
Oh, Underdog. Yes. Oh my God, that's a blast from the past.
If the name Mufti isn't meant to make you laugh like it did just make me corpse over here, I don't know what the point of it.
Mufti.
Oh, Mufti. Yeah. And you know what though? Bob McFadden once again showing up and taking absolutely pleasure in playing like 8 million goddamn characters again, like including Jasper, obviously, but then like a whole host of other people. So I appreciate that we do still get some of the returning people, because there is no, there's no what's her
Paul
name?
Frees.
Paul Frees or Billy Richard. There's no Billy Richards either, which I mean, again, like I was kind of hoping, or Thurl Ravenscroft, some music or something. Like I was hoping for more of the usual people. And this kind of is its own thing, other than Danny Kaye having showed up and Bob McFadden.
Yeah, I would have. I definitely missed Paul Frees, but it is, it's such a small voice cast. There's really only like 5 or 6 people in this. I expected to see a giant list, and there's a lot of characters, but not a lot of actors doing them, which is kind of cool.
And I thought the music was decent. None of these are songs that I'm going to rush out and buy the LP for, but I thought that, this one, it's solid. Maury Laws and Jules Bass. So we're good there.
Yeah. And they made an effort. They made an effort to make them Danny Kaye songs. patter songs. It's like, okay, we got to write songs where there's just a lot of words and a lot of word play, and it's all, delivered at a machine gun pace, because that's what Danny Kaye was always known for in the musicals that he did. So I think they really made an effort. I mean, this was not the most enjoyable to watch, but on no level did it feel like they were, because sometimes some of these specials we've watched, it has felt like they weren't really bringing their all.
Right.
This one felt like they were. It just ultimately, when you're doing stories like this, it's the Emperor's New Clothes, it's the goose that laid the golden egg. It can only sustain so much interest. And at least for an adult audience, and certainly for an adult audience in 2023, I realized that was not the intended audience, but still. And I think that's where it falls apart. I think if you like Danny Kaye at all, you would have been happy to watch this.
And I wonder what they feel like they didn't say with 66's The Daydreamer. Like, I genuinely wonder why they felt like, I mean, again, I get why they did it from a logistical and business standpoint. These are public domain stories, so who cares if you adapt them? Hans Christian Andersen's family's not coming after you. But they already adapted Hans Christian Andersen's body of work. And it's like, I guess I didn't feel like The Daydreamer did a whole lot to really have a lot to say about Hans Christian Andersen. I think this is better than that was. But I think that this has a similar problem of like Hans Christian Andersen in 1972. Why? Like,
it's Danny Kaye. It's like, we want to do something with Danny Kaye. What can we do with Danny Kaye? That also is our thing. Okay, it'll be an anthology. Okay, we'll go to public domain. It'll be all those stories that the kids love hearing over and over. And we'll just we'll sort of, do live action Danny Kaye wraparounds and interstitials, and then he'll voice the rest, and we're good to go. And we've got a legit star in the title of the show. I mean, no one is going to say no to that.
I find that the weakest part of this whole thing is the clips with the kids and just this whole going around. I guess it's not where these stories were written, because he says something like, just a little ways from here, all these stories are written. I'm like, why aren't you there? What? Get over there.
Just go to that place.
Yeah, please. Is it that far? You want taxi money? Do you need an Uber?
Denmark ain't that big. It's the size of West Hollywood.
Right. Please just go. But yeah, I like I said at the very beginning, it's interesting that they're mixing all of these different things, that you've got animated sequences. I want to say that's the credits, but we've seen that before. We've seen where they mix animagic and animation, talking about Santa Claus is coming to town, the whole thing of, here's the past families, and here's what happened to Burgermeister Meisterburger. And so we're going to do that as animated sequences, whereas the rest is animagic. Here it's more like the opening credits and a couple, I want to say there's at least one other sequence that is animated.
It's the
it's sort of a flashback where they're sort of talking about the relationship between Jasper and the king, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. Well, that's interesting to do, but then they just keep taking those breaks. And I imagine that those breaks with the kids are to reintroduce the story after commercial breaks.
And just a craven attempt to indicate that this is for kids. And there's always been a belief, which I think is accurate, that kids want to see kids on screen. Then they know they're part of whatever the drama is. So it was not a wrong-headed notion to say, well, it's going to be, it won't just be Danny Kaye walking through an environment. He'll be interacting with kids, and that will make it very, very clear. And that, kids have a role in this and kids will watch it. So, I mean, again, we're all going, wait a second, why is he making that girl sit on his lap? I'm uncomfortable.
I was squirming a little as well.
Right. But in context of when and where and everything, that's how you did those things.
Mm-hmm. There much more to say about this, guys?
Where was Shelley Duvall in all of this is my question.
She was the little kid. She was the third little kid over to the side.
Did you guys have a chance to watch that Fairy Tale Theater?
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah.
A little bit is the key fucking phrase.
Well, I think I liked it more than you did. I watched the whole darn thing, but it wasn't the best episode of Fairy Tale Theater, but just the cast. So good.
Well, that's
those things were well regarded. They were a big deal when they were being made. I remember people talking about it like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing. You've got to see it. And I never did.
Some of them were fantastic. I want to see the Pinocchio one with Paul Rubens as Pinocchio. And I can't remember. It might have been Carl Reiner as Geppetto. That was really good.
And it's not that I disliked it. It's just this Emperor's New Clothes story to me is not a interesting story.
No,
it's just so boring. Like, it's such a boring one-note story. It's like to call back to Night Gallery and Dreams for Sale. It is a blackout sketch in story form. Like it's it's meant to teach a message, and that's fine. But for me, it's just Hans Christian Andersen wrote more compelling things, and this is not in that group. And even if it's Art Carney and Alan Arkin talking on a log together, yes, I agree with you. That is better than the Rankin and Bass thing, but it's still the same boring, trite, overdone story. And that can't be escaped because they wanted to make something about the Emperor's New Clothes.
It's interesting that the addition of Jasper and the Princess separates it and actually makes it a little bit more interesting, because now you've got Jasper's motivation, because he's the first person to be like, oh, wow, look at that beautiful fabric. And then he's all scheming to get rid of the Emperor and take over the position himself, which you don't have from Marmaduke and Mufti, or any of these other two swindlers that come to town. They just want to get rich. And that was the thing I liked about the Emperor's New Clothes fairy tale theater, was that you get to see how the Emperor's addiction to fashion is affecting all the people in the town, and them saying, we are so super poor because this asshole just keeps taking all of our taxes and ups the taxes all the time so he can buy more clothes. This guy's a total clothes horse. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's really a big thing. And then this whole thing of they want to steal all the money, the Marmaduke and Mufti type characters want to steal all the money. That one, it's like, well, shit, we really shouldn't, because these people are suffering. And when they teach Dick Shawn a lesson, it's like, oh, I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to start giving away money and clothes and things to my people, rather than just be this asshole who wants to look really good.
Yeah, I think they're both interesting versions of the story. Rankin and Bass's version, again, the story's not interesting for me, but I appreciate that they do add things, that they do, the fairy tale theater is a much more classic telling of the story. And then the Rankin and Bass one, it King and eyes it, but at least there's no overtly racist character for Daryl Hammond to play. So those are the benefits. Jasper is just a diminutive jester. They don't constantly call him a dwarf or a midget, thank God. So
you didn't want him to be Chinese
with goofy, stereotypically large buck teeth? No, I had my fill with Daryl Hammond from like minute 2 of that movie.
Right, and I'm sorry.
What about Zero Mostel?
I should have said Thai, but I think the racial stereotypes he was employing were directed at the Chinese. So forgive my mistake.
More or less 100% directed at the Chinese. So, which makes lots of sense.
At least Desi Arnaz Jr. wasn't hanging out on a kite for that one.
Good night. Rankin and Bass, folks, they're culturally sensitive. Sort of.
We mentioned this before, but 1972, Emperor's New Clothes, Mad Monsters, Willie Mays and the Say Hey Kid, and The Red Baron all coming out in the same year. We have
The Godfather.
Right.
Not as important.
The animagic version of The Godfather. What? Haven't you heard of Don Corleone? Well, here, come along with me. We're about to attend his wedding.
Oh,
and then you've got all the animagic versions of the character voiced by the actors. You got Pacino, you got Khan, you got Duvall. Everybody's still there.
How could you
but it's all animagic.
Abe Vigoda as an animagic character would be the greatest.
Yeah. I know it's got a toilet with the chain. You pull it, then I'll put the gun back there. Yeah.
I'll have you know, it's not personal, it's just business. Dun-dun-dun-dun. I would
look at what they did to my boy.
Oh my God. Crowdfund us right now, motherfuckers. You want this? We're writing. Let's go. That would people.
Friends close, enemies closer. Friends close, enemies closer.
Oh my God.
You got the guy making the spaghetti and stuff, and there's like the cartoon cat hanging out on his shoulder and stuff.
Oh no, it's the meatballs would have arms and legs, and they'd be walking down the spoon and jumping into the sauce.
Right.
Oh my god!
You
guys, we got to do it.
Oh,
you got Luca Brasi literally sleeping with fishes.
Yeah. He's sleeping with it. Cuts him just in bed. Yep, I'm game for this, man. Yeah, boy, what a year 72 was.
Well, speaking of the Red Baron, we're going to be coming back next month to talk about the Red Baron. In the meantime, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Abby Stabby for our artwork, as well as the Great Octopus for our theme music. And coming on back with the Red Baron. Until then, Chris, where can people find you and what you do, sir?
You can find everything that I work on over at Weirding Way Place. Culturecast is the weekly movie podcast that I do. Bollywood Cinema Club, that's a bi-weekly movie podcast that I do. Yeah, weirdingwaymedia.com. And I do want to say, shout out to, because we know who he is now. Shout out to Rankin and Bass Wiki. Oh, Rob Wiki, as we should be calling him. Because he heard the episode. I'm not going to name names, but he reached out to us on Facebook and was like, "Hey, I'm just a big fan of the Smokey the Bear special." So fucking A. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And thank you for keeping the good word going, because this is a labor of love for the three of us. So yeah. But he reached out and was like, "Thank you, but I do love the special." So there's the answer to the question that we were wondering. So,
well, is he listening to all of our episodes or just that one?
I don't know. I don't know.
Dude, come on, man. Check out all of our episodes. I think there's like 90 of them.
At this point. But the small digression aside, weirdingwaymedia.com is where you can find me. What about you, Mr. Haddam? Where can they find you?
You can find me on the picket line. Usually I'm at Universal, but sometimes I hit Disney or Warner Brothers. Writers Guild of America still looking for a living wage from the AMPTP.
Yes.
And you can find me on Twitter.
Oh, okay. Are you allowed to write tweets now?
You're allowed to write tweets because you're not writing for one of these Struck studios.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So theoretically, I could be writing a novel.
Could be.
Okay.
Theoretically, I'm not.
Right.
Fucking hard.
And theoretically, Mike, where could people find the things that you work?
Theoretically, they could find me at projectionboothpodcast.com, or theoretically, they could find me over at weirdingwaymedia.com as well, where, there's even more things. Whatever Chris said, there's like 5 more things at least that you can listen to, including Ladies of the 80s, and hear all about the great detective shows.
80s TV ladies, Mike.
Oh, shit. I was thinking of the ladies of the 80s moving into White Castles.
Richard is going to correct you, but not plug it himself.
Yeah. I'll plug your wife's
I was trying to throw it to you, and then clearly it was an incomplete pass. 80s TV ladies, Susan Lambert Haddam. Let me tell you, the guests, the insight, the fun, the laughs, the feminism, the rage, it's all there.
The podcast
the
descriptions.
Rage.
All the rage.
The rage. All right, folks. Until then, be sure to rate and review the podcast wherever you get it. Tell your friends, tell your family, and please stay weird.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.